At the risk of stating the obvious, if you cannot bring yourself to stand and clap for a 13-year-old boy who survived brain cancer, you are the biggest piece of shit old motherfucker on earth. Viva Frei, former Montreal litigator turned current Florida rumbler. I hope the lighting is adequately good. It's late, but I wanted to get this one out. I have now had about 24 hours to mull over the State of the Union address, Donald Trump addressing Congress for the first time of his second presidency. I have been filled with a mild form of rage for the better part of the day because of what disgusting scoundrels, awful people we saw on the left, capital D Democrat politicians who could not bring themselves to stand and clap for a kid who literally survived childhood cancer. Now, the State of the Union address, and I know it's not technically the State of the Union address, but Donald Trump's address to Congress, as a format, it's kind of irritating. Donald Trump or Joe Biden says something, half of Congress stands and applauds, the other half sits on their hands and scowls, although I don't think the Republicans scowled quite as much when Joe Biden was talking, as did the Democrats when Donald Trump was talking, but that's because the Democrats are filled with hate. They are consumed by hate. If they didn't have Donald Trump to hate, they would have no emotions at all. Donald Trump's speech was amazing if you love him. It was disgusting if you hate him. It was a new vision for America on the mend if you love him, and it was racist vitriol if you hate him. One thing is amazing, one thing is undeniable. The man, for his age, for anyone's age, is an unstoppable machine. He is cut from a different fabric. He is simply a different type of human than everyone else out there. I simply watched and commentated live on my channel, Viva Frei. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on if you don't have them on already. I merely watched live and commentated. Then I went to bed, and I'm tired. This man lives a life, lives a schedule that is unimaginable to mere mortals. So whether you love him or you hate him, at least you got to give him that. But I wouldn't count on even that from the Democrats, because the things that they refuse to stand and clap for is an indication of the deep depravity and evil within their dark, dirty souls. And as I was live stream commentating, I was also posting on X so that I could keep a diary, a log of my thoughts, just so that I would not forget the true depravity of the Democrat Party. Here's my highlights of what the Democrats refuse to stand for, which shows exactly what they stand for, or at least do not stand for. Viva Frei at the Viva Frei. Democrats could not even bring themselves to stand and clap for a 12-year-old who survived brain cancer and was ceremoniously deputized by Trump's director of Secret Service because he always wanted to become a police officer. I'm not being hyperbolic. These people are evil. I hope even, quote, Democrat, end quote, Americans understand this now. And here's my highlights. So Democrats don't want the Panama Canal back and prefer it to be in the hands of China. Noted. So the left is no longer against human trafficking. Okay, noted. Pedos. So Democrats don't want peace in Ukraine. Noted. War hordes. So Democrats don't care about 12-year-old girls who get and murdered. Demons. So Democrats don't care about Laken Riley. Noted. You watch this evening tonight and explain to me why Democrats are not evil. Go. I'm open-minded. At some point during his speech, Donald Trump said, if I cured cancer, the Democrats wouldn't give me credit for it. I don't know why Donald Trump sounds like my Bernie Sanders. If I cured cancer, you wouldn't give me the credit for it. Okay, Donald Trump literally said at some point during his speech, if I cured cancer, Democrats would still not give me credit for it. Well, here is Donald Trump ceremoniously deputizing a 13-year-old boy who survived brain cancer, and the Democrats can't bring themselves to stand up and at least encourage that little boy's survivor. And in case you missed the moment, here is the moment. Now, before we get into the ugly, and I do mean the ugly, Debbie Wasserman Schultz not getting up, not even clapping her hands, truly ugly inside and out, and I'm not judging someone for what they look like, I'm judging someone for what they look like on the outside because of the disgustingness on the inside. Can we take a moment to appreciate Donald Trump's new director of Secret Service, Sean Curran, giving that boy a hug? I swear to you, I think I'm pretty good at reading body language. Mr. Curran's face turned red, and I dare say he was on the verge of tears. It was a beautiful moment to witness, at least if you have a soul. And now that we've done the good, let's do the bad and the ugly. Here is Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Now, in fairness to some Democrats, not all of them sat there like a bunch of disgusting, scowling demons. Some actually had the courage to walk out and leave or not show up at all. And if you didn't know, Jayapal was one of those who had to walk out because it was too much for her to handle.
I just walked out of Trump's address, joint address to Congress. I went there because I was insistent that I wanted to hear directly from him what he had to say. But after hearing him spew lie after lie after lie, racism and xenophobia at the center of everything, I walked out. And I'm going to insist that we stand up for our constituents, for the American people across this country, and fight back so that we can make sure we're delivering for working people everywhere.
As far as I'm concerned, attending this speech is part of the job, and when you refuse to do your job, you deserve to get fired. Paya Pal, you deserve to get fired, but at the very least, you weren't sitting there refusing to clap for a 13-year-old boy who survived brain cancer. And on the subject of Democrats who had the courage to up and leave or not show up, the man who pulled the fire alarm because he doesn't know the difference between a door handle and a firearm, Jamal Bowman, had this words of wisdom to say on Twitter. All the Dems should have left with Al Green. To which I replied, but they didn't. They stayed. They stayed and they stayed seated instead of celebrating a 12-year-old boy who beat brain cancer, because you are all shit people. World-class shit. But the demon of all demons, Nicole Wallace, on the Demon of All Demons television show, Rachel Maddow, with the demon of all demons, Jen Psaki, and that other dude, I have no idea who he is. If you thought they couldn't get more disgusting than not clapping for a 13-year-old boy that survived brain cancer, wait until you hear what Nicole Wallace had to say.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ, and I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
Now, for those of you who have been around the channel for a while, you know that I often quote David Mamet's expression, every fear hides a wish. When Nicole Wallace comes out and says, I sure hope this kid lives to be 95 years old. I sure hope he doesn't grow up to take his own life. You know that she is thinking one thing exactly. I hope that he doesn't. And if he doesn't, it will be because he suffers the consequences of his own political decisions. It was a truly, truly disgusting and despicable thing to say. Congratulations, Nicole Wallace. You win the evening. Oh, I sure hope this kid doesn't grow up to harm himself. But if he does, he will have gotten what he deserves for supporting an evil man like Donald Trump. That's what you said, Nicole Wallace. You just didn't say it quite so directly. Oh yeah, and not for nothing, Nicole Wallace, if there were that many January 6th Capitol police officers who took their own lives in the days and weeks and years following January 6th, you might want to stop and think that maybe it wasn't directly related to the events of that day, which were at worst a full-blown riot and at best something less than that. You might want to think that it might have had something to do with potential reprisals, backlash that some of these officers might have gotten for reporting to their supervisors, asking questions as to how they were left high and dry on that day. Some of them faced backlash, professional backlash, so that might explain it. Not necessarily the events of that day, but the coming down on them from their higher-ups in the days and weeks that followed. And you would know this if you had bothered to listen to my interview with Tarek Johnson, who did explain that some of the backlash against police officers who spoke out was somewhat severe. But set all that aside, you took a beautiful moment of a 13-year-old boy who survived brain cancer, who was being ceremoniously deputized by the president, and you turned it into political rubbish because you, Nicole Wallace, are political rubbish. That is basically the summary of the evening. If you didn't watch it, now you don't have to. And if you did watch it with me, you had a good time because it was fun to watch. It was fun to see what Trump said and the reaction from the left. Donald Trump is bringing in a new vision of America, a new version of America, and it is light years better than the waste and destruction left by that demented old Joe. And with that said, if you like what I do, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Viva Fry on Rumble, the Viva Fry on Twitter, vivabarneslaw.locals.com for the best above average law community out there. But most importantly, exercise, eat healthy, sunlight, talk to people in real life, and now you know your vlog. Peace out, peeps. Booyah!
He's playing?
Yeah. He's playing.
He's trying too hard.
Huh. He's playing.
Mr. President!
Mr. President, just a word.
Mr. President, what are you going to say to Trump on Wednesday?
Whoa.
Mr. President, what are you going to talk with Trump on Wednesday?